So I would like to invite now Carlota Guerrero, the manager of the Catalunya Film Commission in Spain, who is also a member of the board at the EUFCN.
Thank you.
Welcome, Carlota.
Connections.
So Carlota will be discussing how we keep up with the daily workflow and how to collect the right data, something that Alexandra has also already mentioned. And you will see magnificent things and materials that Carlota has to show you. We were all impressed at the board when she showed us her marvelous Excel, and we all said it's the Carlota's way. So keep that in mind, because it's really important and very impressive. And coming from a region which is very rich, right, full of production in Catalonia. And while she's preparing the material, I will be reading you her bio. Carlota Guerrero is the manager of the Catalunya Film Commission since 2007. The CFC, the Catalunya Film Commission, is part of the Catalan Film Fund in the government of Catalonia. She is also a board member of the EUFCN. As manager of the Catalunya Film Commission, she coordinates a network of over 230 towns and villages across Catalonia, which altogether host around 4,000 productions per year. At CFC, she collaborates with all types of productions, from short films to international feature films awarded at international film festivals or high-end TV drama. She also represents Catalonia in the main international film festivals and markets. So, Carlota, again, I would like to tell us how you came on board to the Catalunya Film Commission and a little bit about the structure there with the fund and how many people are working there, if you're permanent, if your position is permanent.
Okay. I have a background in film and TV production. I did my first degree in English language and literature, and then took a second degree in journalism. And then started working at the media program, actually, after a briefly cooperation with a local TV station, then went on to be a producer at Barcelona TV, the local TV station, and then I managed a local film festival. So after all this, being involved with both production and audiovisual management, the offer came from the Catalan government. The Film Commission is part of the Catalan Film Fund, which in turn is part of the Catalan Ministry of Culture. Back in 2007, they decided they wanted to set up a film commission for the whole of Catalonia. At the time, there was only a film office in Barcelona. It was called Barcelona Plató. And then in 2007, the local authorities, the city authorities, and the regional Ministry of Culture decided to join their efforts to create what was then called Barcelona Catalunya Film Commission. Right. And that's when I began the job. At the very beginning, I had 6 months contract that went on for, I would say, 4 years or so. So every 6 months, it was like, okay, what's going to happen? But it was at the time when I began to create the network. What I did, and Alexandra made me think of that. I traveled around Catalonia, going around towns, cities, talking to mayors, talking to different authorities, explaining the advantages of hosting film productions and how we could create a network and help them do that. So we did that for the first, I would say, 5 to 6 years that we were working in cooperation with the city of Barcelona. But then in 2014, when the network was already quite consistent, maybe at the time we had 150 cities represented, something like that, we realized, and that would be another discussion, that Barcelona is so big and so well known that in a way, rather than helping the rest of the territory be known, it was, you know, keeping the rest of the territory in the shade. So we thought it was best to separate the two film commissions. We still share the website, and we talk weekly, at least, I don't know, 5 times a week at least. So we cooperate a lot. But we split the two film commissions.
If I may just interrupt for a second, because people might not know, Spain has about 30 film commissions, right?
Or more.
Nearly. There are many, many film commissions. So there's the Catalonia Film Commission, the Barcelona Film Commission, Madrid. There are so many, and you've started back in the 80s, I think. It's been quite a long time.
The first film commission was the Barcelona Film Commission in, I think it was 1996, officially established.
In the 90s, yeah.
And then 2 years later, Andalusia Film Commission.
Yeah. Just to give the big image here, because we've recently had the chance of participating in a very important market that started in Spain, in Valladolid. It was an initiative by the Spanish Film Commissions where they organized an event for film commissions and location managers. It was impressive to see how clever you're thinking in your country by, you know, collaborating so many film commissions among you and having the unique luxury of having only your own territory to work with, but at the same time collaborate with each other.
Well, collaboration, I would say, is key to what we do, because and you will hear this very often from location managers, it's not only good to know what you have, it's very good to know what you don't have and what your neighbors have, so that you can make it easy for the production, because one day you won't have what they need, but the next they will come back because they know you were able to help.
And you can...
Oh, well, I'll do it from here. Well, this is a brief introduction of where we are. As we said, we are part of the Catalan Institute for Cultural Industries, which in turn is part of the Ministry of Culture. At the Institute, we take care of all cultural sectors, but the Catalonia Film Commission is part of the audiovisual area, which is the Film Fund. So there's 20 million euros devoted to the audiovisual from our department, and it's mostly subsidies, but also my colleagues at the promotion program, Catalan Films, are part of this area. We take care of festivals and, of course, the Film Commission. As I explained before, we coordinate this network of over 230 towns and villages in Catalonia. The way it's organized is we have a person to talk to in all the represented towns, or sometimes when the towns are very tiny, and this happens in many areas, like in the mountains or inland of Catalonia, what we do is we have a contact with a county representative that will speak for maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 towns, depending on the area, because in some municipalities, they may have someone who only works there one morning a week. Oh. And what they do is they get together in county councils, you would call them, and thus, through these county councils, we have more towns represented. Our objectives is a bit what Alexander already told you. I won't go through this. Basically, what we want to do is to make Catalonia known to the world, make it easy for filmmakers to work in our part of the world. And to do that, we need to coordinate and to get in touch with the local authorities, municipalities, as Alexander was saying. One of the things that help us build our promotion and our attraction to municipalities is collecting data, knowing what's going on, and being able to pass on this information to the relevant public authorities. We work with national and international production companies, location scouts, location managers, production teams, film schools and universities. It's very important to work with students, I feel. And it's something like people who were students 20 years ago are now directing, well, J. Bayona, I don't know, Jurassic World, or whatever. So the students of today are the filmmakers of tomorrow, and it's very good to collaborate with them. We work with municipalities and other administrations, national and international associations and institutions, audiovisual festivals and markets, the media, and private and public locations, location owners or location managers. I mean, a bit of everything, but I'm concentrating today on what we do with production companies and especially with municipalities. What do we offer to production companies? We assist with information requests about locations and permits. We're there, we do troubleshootings. Alexandra was telling you all about it. I mean, this is what we all do here. We intermediate, we do troubleshooting. We also give information about funds, especially when we are at international markets. And what we ask from them is basically communication, information, and an early contact, as early as possible. It's easy, I mean, we don't ask for much. What about towns administrations? What do we do for them? We are a window to what they offer. We provide also the relevant information and tools to help them manage film shoots in their territory, as Alexandra was explaining, talking about protocols, guides of conduct, these kind of things. When necessary, we liaise with the towns hosting a production. Sometimes, if the town is new to film shooting, they need some advice. It is very common in Catalonia, I guess it happens all over the world, that the rules of the city, I don't know what the word of that is in English, we call it ordenanzas in Spanish.
Okay. Jurisdiction?
No, I don't know. You write them every year. It's where you write down the price for things. It's like if you set up a market, how much does the person selling T-shirts have to pay to put their stall? These kind of things, no? The public fee, whatever. Well, so in many towns, they don't think of film shoots when writing them. And I always give this example of the market because it's very clear. When they organize their public space, they say, okay, what do we do? Oh, we have the weekly market. Okay, so every person coming with their stall selling T-shirts, that have to pay X euros per square meter. Okay, so now film shoot arrives. And okay, what do we do? Is X euros per square meter, 20,000 euros.
Wow.
It's like, hello? And this happens a lot because, say, you're doing a period film, maybe your base cam isn't that big. You don't need that much to use that much public space, but you need a lot of public space not to be used. You need a lot of empty public space. And if you start calculating, it goes really high. So in these occasions, we will go in and explain that it's not a market that they're putting up, it's something else. So they need to look at their public space in a different way. So we mediate in this respect. After we've done it 3 times, then the towns know, and they usually change their regulations. We also showcase their locations on the website. We organize fam trips to the new towns that join the area. We had one last Thursday. We encourage the participation of new towns in the network when we are around. If someone asks to shoot in a town that isn't part of the network, we'll contact them, we'll explain what we do, invite them to join us. And we generate networking opportunities whenever we can. What do we ask from the towns in our network? To give us one person that will be the contact person that will be in charge of liaising with the industry and with us. Just one. Because this, I think, in the film industry, many things you only learn by doing. So the more someone has been doing a job in a town, the better and the more expertise. We also ask municipalities to give us a list of available locations, and the final thing, data. We ask them to gather relevant data, what they did during the year, what productions they hosted, how many filming permits did they issue.
Carlota, do you help them to provide them with any template of any application for us? I mean, do you help them on how to collect this data? Or you leave it up to them, and it's a different setup in each town?
No. I will come to that in a minute.
Okay. Sure.
I was going to go through the website, but it's not necessary.
Go through your...
No. The only thing is, like, all this information, all that we do is on the website. But
how important is the website? Carry on.
It's got everything. The website is the showcase of everything we do. We've got, is it connecting? Yeah. Locations, I don't know how many. Almost 2,000 different locations that are organized by randomly at the beginning when you go in. Then this is a town that recently joined us, Santa Coloma de Gramenet, so we can, we've got their location here, the skate park, and through that we go to all the locations in the town where we have the contact name and details. It's very important for us that producers and location managers can work directly with the towns. We don't want to be intermediating unless it's needed.
All this information is provided to you by the town?
Yes.
All the documentation in each location here on the website is provided to you by them, right?
Yes. They send us, we send them a template. It's a word word sheet, and we ask them to give us all this information. So we, as I said, we showcase what they have, and then this can be related to other concepts. Say, this property is under universities, staircases, street avenues, whatever. So, okay, staircases. What staircases are there in the website? And then you find all the staircases in the website, and this may take you to another town, Lloret de Mar, for example.
So it's multi-layered, and it takes you to different...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And we try to connect it as much as possible. I will be speaking about the filmography later, but just to give you an idea of how much everything is connected in the filmography also, and that's why it's so important to collect data. You can also search what happened in any given town. So you have, you type in the town, you go to a production, and then you see where it was filmed. So you can go to the town, right? We try to connect everything.
So you connect locations with films shot there. Right.
We need the final step, which would be, no, because we connect films to the locations where they shot, but we do not connect the locations to the films
right.
yet.
We do the same, yeah.
We're
It's
hoping.
only one way. Yeah.
It's only one way.
We do it the same, yeah.
Okay, but back to the presentation and the data. Collecting information. We do have a means to collect information that is open to all the municipalities in the network, which is this production registration. It is online. Producers can check in, and it's a simple process, but it's not a filming permit. And whilst I think it's useful, it can sometimes generate confusion. Because we say very clear, this is not a filming permit. You're not starting a filming request here. This is just for information so that you know we're here. But still people fill this in and think they are requesting a permit.
Right.
This happens.
Yeah.
But it's a way for everyone to tell us what they have. So they will say, okay, it's a company, it's a particular person, it's an individual, they fill it in here. They give us all the information, name, surname, and it will be the same for every town. Company information as well, synopsis of the production, and in the final part of the form, they say when they want to begin shooting, in which towns, and how many days in that town, so that by filling in one form, all the towns in the network that are affected by this request will receive the information.
So the towns receive it via you?
Yes,
So,
no, but not, because it's not compulsory.
right.
It's something that may happen, but does not necessarily happen.
Okay.
Right? But this is a way productions may get the information and organize the information we will later request. And if I may, I'm going to change the screen here because I would like to very quickly share. This is
Carlota's way.
No, this is not Carlota's way yet. This is raw material with sensitive information, actually, that I'm sharing quickly. What is online now on my computer? This is the information we get from this registration form. You see there's a date and a time. That's when people filled in the information. And, for example, this feature film, Girasoles Silvestres, that has many different entries, and you will wonder why.
Yeah.
This is because the only way I can mix then lines of information in Excel is by having every detail in a different line.
Right. Okay.
Maybe someone who knows better how to work with Excel can do it better, but
Okay.
I'm very,
Okay.
I do what I can. So this is what we gather at the office. But, and this is what I want to share with you that can be actually shared. Dun, 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 dun. Where is it? You know when you think you have everything ready and set and then it's not there? There you are. EUFCN Thessaloniki production in Catalonia. Okay. This is Carlota's way. And this is, I'm sorry, I was charged with the most boring part of the presentations today.
Yeah, but it's so useful and...
Okay. This is what we send our members and what we ask them to get back. We have this Excel spreadsheet which has municipality, county, province, and you may wonder why, but then we have the local press saying, how many productions in our province? How many in our country? Well, this is our way of knowing. We didn't have it at the beginning, but we realized it was needed. Production title, type of production, and we have quite a few. We have commercial photo shoots, commercial, corporate, institutional, documentary, feature film, fiction, feature film. There are some weird things now, and I will explain why. I'll show you the categories at the end. Type of production, production company. This is usually filled in. I left it out for the presentation. The nationality of the production, the director, first day of production, last day of production, total shoot days, and locations. We are now, for example, beginning to work with the electricity company to request some points where we can connect to the electricity. And the fact that we can go through the most used locations in Catalonia helps us then tell the electricity people, okay, we know that these particular places around the territory host maybe 15 productions per year. Maybe it's worth for you to set up this point. So this will be the first time after, I don't know, 10 years of collecting this information that I will be using it.
Wow.
But it was always there, and now that I need it, I've got it. I'm so happy.
Yes, you should. And you should be very proud, because collecting data is a nightmare. It's not easy. And
It is a nightmare.
you have to have a systematic way of collecting it, and you have to be consistent and precise, and that's not easy with the workflow, with the everyday workflow.
It's very difficult.
So be happy. You deserve it.
Well, let me continue. We also ask total budget, budget in municipality, and municipal fees. These columns, the budget columns, they're empty, not because I emptied them. It's because it's very hard to get this information from the producers, you see? Like 2 productions, okay, we've got some information. Then we go down. The budget.
Yeah. Even if they are funded by the Catalan Film Fund,
Yeah.
then you have access to the info, right?
I do, but I never have the time to actually go
yeah.
to my colleagues and
Right.
say,
Yeah.
what happened
I see,
here.
yeah.
So
And if they are not funded, it's even more difficult to get that information. It's impossible.
it's impossible. It's very hard. Now we are collaborating with Barcelona, and Barcelona is doing a very good job with big productions in getting this type of information from them, because they are really working hard to accommodate their needs. And Barcelona, as Hamburg, as any big city, busy cities have a hard time to accommodate. So it's only fair, I think, that the productions give this information. But this, I mean, as I said, we count at the end of a normal year 4,000 productions. It's very hard. I mean, the big productions account for maybe 2% of the total.
Just a quick stop break, and you had shown me at some point, because you offer so much in terms of support and whatever they need, not necessarily a rebate, an incentive, or a fund, money, you have a clause in some of your materials that you communicate to the producers that they should be acknowledging your support at the end titles. Is that the case? You
Yes.
have a phrase in.
It is, my colleagues in Barcelona do that. That it needs to be, the logo of the Barcelona Film Commission needs to be in the final credits of the production. This is not always the case, I think, now with platforms, because platforms are very particular with the way they show their acknowledgements, and sometimes they will just write the name. Okay, so this is a template we give to all our towns. They have to give us the name of the town, where they are, the title of the production, type of production, production company, nationality, director, blah, blah, blah. We get all this from the towns, and we put it here, where we also put the Excel spreadsheet I showed before, and we begin crisscrossing information. Wow. So, we know that in this town, Cerdanyola del Vallès, how many productions are there? Practicante, Enigma Verdaguer, whatever, this many. And we keep going, and we keep counting, and in the first phase, there are about, I think there were 1,500 entries here on this first page. Because some of the information is duplicated, because we don't know, we may have the name and the director, but we don't have the production company. We check what happens. This is raw information here. On the second Excel sheet, we begin cleaning all repetitions, and then we organize it by towns. And we know that this town in Segrià Alcarràs, which is a very tiny town, they held one production. This town isn't even in our network, but the production company, in this case, we write the source, they told us, we're shooting here, so we make note of this. And we make note of TV programs, photo shoots, short films, Game of Thrones, anything, because we believe that everything is important, and it's the people in our network that are taking care of each and one of these productions and their needs. And they all need, at the end of the day, a contact with the police department to check if it's okay to stop the traffic for 2 hours so that this short film produced by students can be done. And I'm not going to say it takes exactly the same amount of work as organizing Game of Thrones, but in a way, it does. There's a lot of work involved in the daily operation of film in a town, and we believe this needs to be acknowledged and explained. And by knowing how much is done, then we can defend that there needs to be a person in charge.
And what do you say to your trainees when they're helping you collect this data in order to persuade them how to be doing this as good as possible?
Yeah. Well, no, I tell them that it's on us to collect, to build the memory of the audiovisual in our country, really. I mean, we are making history in a way. We are documenting what is happening for the future. Like when the Martians arrive in the year 2300, they will know that this happened because we collected this information. So it is very boring.
Is it difficult to convince also policymakers? Do you use that also for that negotiation?
I do in general terms to explain the importance of the audiovisual in the region and how they need, how it would be nice that they join the network. And we have a very recent example. I will tell you in a minute. Let me just go to the end of this spreadsheet. This is the last part where we organize it by type of production. So we get information by town and by type of production. This would be other productions, whatever. And then we come up with this information at the end. The biggest towns in 2019, of course, Barcelona is always the biggest, then Hospitalet. We organize this ranking. The difference is huge of what they do in Barcelona. Normally, of this roughly 4,000, it would be 3,000 Barcelona and 1,000 the rest of Catalonia, more or less. And we have this ranking of municipalities. We know what happened over the years and how well or how badly they did. And we come up with the final information of how much was shot in Catalonia with or without Barcelona, and then we have the four categories of what we call big productions: feature fiction films, feature documentaries, TV series, and made-for-TV movies and miniseries. And then we have other productions, which can be anything, corporate or institutional short films, TV commercials, school, uni productions, commercial photoshoot, non-commercial related to other magazines, whatever, TV programs, TV documentary, or music videos. Amazing. Oh, thank you. That voice.
That was Oslo. Oslo is amazed. We all are.
No, it takes, usually this happens, I managed to gather, I begin asking everyone in December, okay, get ready to send the report, your annual production, please, that happens before Christmas. Then we can come back from Christmas, nothing, of course. Do you remember, could you kindly please send, okay, I begin getting things. Then I go to Berlinale, and I say, okay, when I get back, everything will be here, I'll begin working on it. Half of the information isn't there, and then I start getting nervous, because I cannot finish the thing until I get all the information, because every single new production kind of disrupts the whole thing. Right. So I end up being very stressed in March and April, calling everyone, well, can you please send the information, can you please send it? And then working nights in April trying to get this finished. And my colleagues at the information department, Carlota, your report, the annual, yes, I can't because this town didn't send it. And this is happens every year.
Your pitch is going slow somehow.
Yeah. No, I think the Spanish.
The ones going to the north have this covered? Yes, you have it covered, this kind of
Not so thoroughly like Carlota, but we have we have collected data for several years. I think beginning 2005 or so, so we can do comparisons to the development. But as we do not have so many municipalities, it's not like that. It's not so thorough. It's more basic.
Okay, but to go back to what you were asking, oh, sorry, Alexandra. You were asking, how is this useful? Okay, this is what we publish. Where's the presentation gone thing? Here. Okay, no?
It's good on the screen.
It's good on the screen? Perfect. Here, this one. No, this one. This is an example of last Friday. There is this particular town which in the charts was the first city receiving productions after Barcelona that used to host a lot of commercial productions. More than 50% of the yearly production was TV commercials and photo shoots. In early 2019, they decided to extend the period to apply for a permit. They usually did it in about 10 days, which is more or less the standard in every town, although it's 5 days in Barcelona. And they decided to go up to 21. All the commercial producers began complaining. They talked to the city council, then there was the election, some people changed, then COVID arrived, and nothing happened. And I got a call from them on Friday, said, oh, we're meeting this town, can you prepare some information about, like, help us explain how it is a prejudice to us, your timings. And I said, yeah, hold on a minute. And very quickly, I saw that a change in policy meant a big drop in production from one year to the next. And it was only because I had this information that I could easily come up with a report and an analysis.
And just to make it clear, and that drop was because they extended the period of days for the authorities to issue a permit from 5 days to 21 days.
From 10 days that they were doing in this town to 21.
To 21. So only that affected the production arriving in this region to have.
Yeah, I'm
50%.
very bad at mathematics, but what I can tell you is that they had 50% of their production was commercials. The next year, only 25% of the production was commercial. I can't say if this is a drop of 50% or whatever, but it goes down clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You were saying, Alexandra? No.
Depending on the total of productions.
But it's a percentage of the total of productions that, I mean, I always took the percentage from the total of productions, and it dropped. Also, what is, I think, helpful is the filmography. All these data are very useful to then relate every production to the town where it was shot, and it helps us explain and portray the different towns. I chose this film that shot in many places around Catalonia. We've got around 1,200 titles in the filmography, just feature films and TV series and miniseries. Another use of all this information is communication, both on our social media, but email marketing, advertising, because we can explain what we do on the directories, communications to the film industry, to media. This happens a lot. And this is about it. Our
Since we're in this final slide, Carlota, how important is it for you to invest in advertisements, on magazines, on platforms? Do you invest a lot?
Not really. We are into online directories, KFTV and the location guide. We usually do one page or half a page of publicity in magazines for their daily specials in festivals, especially when a film shot in Catalonia has been selected and will kind of be there. And that's about it, really. I always have, I don't know if this is the place for an open-hearted conversation about this, but I always have my doubts.
Yeah, because it depends on whether, it's an open discussion, true.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for Carlota? I think everybody's speechless after this material and
because
this
it's
data
so boring,
collection.
Benia.
No.
Who wants to move it?
Okay, could you wait for the microphone, Alexandra, so that you can be heard?
I actually have a question about categorizing the productions, because after several days, several years of collecting data, we realized, okay, perhaps we counted some productions in a wrong way for many years. Should we change this, or should we stick to the way we counted them, just because to keep up a continuity? Do you know what I mean? And so, or should we somehow make a mark and do a big online posting somewhere in our data that from the year 2007, TV features of that or that category were counted as? Have you ever occurred such a problem?
We have. And the way for example, it's funny how TV series had so little importance that we didn't count them separately until 2016. We only had, the locally produced TV series that was for local TV, and that went down with TV programs or TV entertainment. We had that category. And then 2016 is like, okay, something's going on here. We'd better, look at it separately. Something happened. But it's only 2016. It's 5 years ago.
It's very recent.
It feels like it's been forever, but the series fever, maybe it began in 2015, and we reacted a year later, but it's not much earlier than that. So yeah, we included, for example, this category in 2016. And in 2020, and that's why I chose to show the 2019 information, not the 2020, is because I had already worked on that in the English version. 2020, what happened? Barcelona, which, as I said, is leading data collection, and they receive a big chunk of the total production. They totally changed the way they count it. Totally. Yeah. We had like 10 categories, and they've come up with about 20 that then are reduced into 7. I can show you, if I'm online, I can probably show you one of our documents. It's crazy. So we...
In the meantime, may I ask you, for instance...
Yeah.
In the meantime, for instance, that's a question that has arisen now for, I think, 2 years, because with huge growing of streaming productions, we counted television feature films, television series, television entertainment formats, whatever. But streaming is not really television. But do you open an extra column for that now?
We do.
Or did you already?
We do. Let me show you. I'll take you to this document.
And relevant to that, for those of you who do keep data, have you changed the columns within the categories? I mean, your overall view, what kind of data you're collecting? Because it's one thing, the categories as per feature, short, TV platform or whatever, but the types of things that we're collecting in every case, have you changed? Has it changed throughout the years? Have you
I'm not
realized?
sure I understand the question.
Yeah,
Sorry.
have you realized that you might need other type of data, more data?
Okay. I see
Not
what you mean.
categories, you understand?
Yeah, yeah.
Because this is the
including more-
repeating pattern in all of them. But have you realized, for instance, that I want to know also how much local crew I have, or I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Have you seen that you?
We haven't changed that yet. We do include in our production registration a field where they can tell us about the crew. We ask for the crew, but it's a very open field, very hard to analyze. Let me show you. This is 2020. This is not in English. This is in Catalan, and it's very raw. But this is the change. Okay. I don't know if you can see this here, but these are the new categories. No, I needed that because, as I said, Barcelona came up with new categories that, I don't know how many there are, but quite a few.
These are 2 years in comparison.
These are 2 years in comparison. Or this may be Barcelona and Catalonia. No. Yeah, this is Catalonia with the new categories, and this is Barcelona. Because what happens is Barcelona only gives me totals. They don't give me the details of each of their 3,000 productions. So I have to come up with my totals to mix them. And then always in the annual report, there is the difference between production in Catalonia with or without Barcelona, because it makes a difference. So you have all these, and then it is summed up in something much smaller. So many productions that include commercials for streaming. TV series are now called, I think high-end TV. Let me tell you exactly the name. It is, what do we call it? We still call it fiction series. Okay. And in our production registration, we collect where it will be shown, but it's not something we analyze yet. It may happen as the same thing as with the locations I was saying before. It's something we collect, and maybe in a few years we will use it.
And there is a question here from the Ionian Islands.
Okay, your whole data collecting story has given me a question, which is, you collect your data from, obviously, the municipalities or the services that give the permits and stuff, okay? Do I get it right? So my question is, do the producers really have to go through the film, your film commission? For example, can someone just go to the services and get permits, or the municipalities and get permits and go out there shoot, without passing through your film commission or your film commission? Because what has been happening lately in Corfu and the Ionian Film Office is that we've been open. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
okay.
yes.
Okay. We've been open since March officially, and we are there. We operate. But still, we have had shootings in Corfu or in Zakynthos, for example, and that we didn't know about. And I don't know if this is a problem. I mean, obviously, it's not mandatory for somebody to come to me if they don't really need me. But it feels kind of weird. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you mean.
So I would like to know what goes on with your offices.
Okay. We at the Catalonia Film Commission actually encourage producers to go directly to municipalities and don't come through us because we are not issuing permits. So our role is a bit different. In towns, it's happened, and it happens sometimes, that producers will go directly to the police department rather than go through the film office. But because there is someone that we know in the town who is in charge of filming, what we ask them to do is to go to their local police and say, look, can you tell me how many productions we had these years? And then over the years, when this relationship is established inside the municipality and the workings of the administration, then either it will be easier for our person to collect the information, or the police department will say, okay, no, any productions, go please first to the film office and then get back to me for the permit. So it's something that builds up over the years, in our experience.
And there's a question from Stathis from Athens Film Office.
Hi. I want to ask you this. Has this data collection process led to a change of policy at some point? I mean, has this been like a benchmark so you can see what goes wrong, what should be done in order to formulate a domestic policy for your for productions that come from Catalonia or Spain in general? I mean, is this something that has helped policymakers to see that, okay, maybe we have done something wrong, or we should correct this, or we should streamline this process? And I'm talking about the actual permitting stuff. I'm talking about the broader policy that has to do with what do you want as a country or as a region in order to grow your industry, or is just sitting there for you to, just...
Okay, in Barcelona, in the city of Barcelona, it has, or it is leading a change. They want to gather more and better information to communicate to the city, which is something that wasn't really happening that much before. That's why they organize the information in a slightly different way. So it is leading to a slight change of policy in permitting in the city of Barcelona. On a regional level, no, it hasn't changed. Mostly, I would say, but this is assumptions I'm making on behalf of my politicians, because what is directly incumbent to our fund is this small percentage of cultural production that is about 5% of the yearly production in the whole of Catalonia. So we don't have a capacity to influence on the other 95% of production that goes on in the region. So I guess this is why really this information hasn't been used yet, maybe in the future.
A question from Maria Koufopoulou.
Yeah, and a question and rather a comment. There is a very precious data that can be measured afterwards. And what I mean by this is the impact of, let's say, Mamma Mia after 1 or 2 or 3 years in Greek tourism. And the same happens with the cities wherever they are filmed. So there is something that I don't know how can be evaluated and then really be a strong weapon, an argument just to persuade mayors and local offices.
That's a tricky question, I think, because this is a discussion we've had often. I think it very much depends on where your film office, film commission is sitting and how you relate to the after effects of filming. In my case, because I'm part of the Ministry of Culture, my mandate, my main objective is to stimulate the audiovisual industry and make sure that I communicate within professional environments that we are ready to host production and be proud and show, I don't know, the big studios that because we've done Hannah and Killing Eve and Sony productions, we can host more of this. And it wouldn't be my concern in the area where I am to take care of what happens after. That would be something for the tourism authorities to work with. And we have sometimes cooperated, but it's not their priority at the moment. For other film commissions, even within Catalonia, some of the film offices lay within tourism departments, and then they make more use of what's happened, and as you were saying, all the data that can be used afterwards. But so far, I would say it's the tourism culture division that dictates the use of data. No.
I would totally agree, and among the members of the EUFCN, who are nearly 100, if not more, Sarah will tell us later on, there are different answers. As Carlota is saying, some film commissions do invest a bit of their energy and manpower into film tourism, because that's what it is, what you're talking about, Maria. That's film tourism. That's the after effect of what's happening after they're gone, and the effect they're bringing in the country. Whereas other film commissions are focused entirely on how to attract and bring them in. And they stop there. It's an open discussion, it's an ongoing discussion, but from my perspective, definitely assessing data of the film tourism aspect is always useful to politicians and policymakers, because they see, we have tremendous examples like Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, and we have endless examples of places that have been affected in the film tourism, but also in the industry, for policymakers to realize how important it is. But I think what is the common link between all of us as members of the EUFCN is that the main and first and foremost objective is to be working for the benefit of our local industry, is to be working, we are public servants, in order to make sure that people in our industry get jobs. That's the main objective. If I'm wrong, correct me, and that's something that we can also discuss in the future panels, right? Mm-hmm. And I think there was another question, Lina.
As a follow-up question to what Maria Fopoul commented on about the relationship between your film commission or other film commissions with the local municipalities, not only regarding the data collection, but also for that. I mean, is there a kind of networking between your film commission and the municipalities in order to help them be more film-friendly, maybe, or to collect them easily, to understand what the procedure is, to help the local industry to be more competitive in that point? Mm-hmm. I would like to ask about that. Thank you.
We tried to, I'm speaking in the past, because we, after the pandemic, we haven't done it, and it is our fault that we didn't do anything during the pandemic. Before, we tried to organize a gathering maybe once a year so that people could get together and share information and come up with new things. The first such gathering that we organized was in October. It wasn't exactly that. We were presenting a guide for sustainable filming, and it was open to all municipalities. But unfortunately, it was like kind of bad timing, and we didn't get much participation. It is something that we need to get back onto, because what we do now is on an individual level, we do have communication with separate towns, and some of the oldest ones will talk to each other and share information, but we need to go back to the gatherings because it's definitely a very important way to share information. And in the early years, it really helped set up a tight network.
And I remember your colleague Montserrat from Barcelona was telling me that you are often within Catalonia and Barcelona, you often have frequent meetings with police authorities, municipality authorities, either for a specific project that has many demanding needs, either in general to sit at the same table, all of you, and discuss how would you handle it, the famous how would you handle it, as we say in the other association we have. So it's not only among cities, but also within your local. And another question from Epirus region, Dimitra Ragoti.
Hello. Thank you for all that information you provide us. But summarizing, could you give us the administrative structure of the Catalonia? When you are talking about film-friendly towns, you mean they have a film office, or just they facilitate through their structures filming in their towns?
The second option. Many towns, as I said, don't have a big enough structure within their administration to set up a film office. So what we call a film-friendly town is someone that decided to join the network under the conditions we asked, that were, give us someone that we can talk to, if possible always the same person, tell us what locations are available, and find out please how to shoot there, what the conditions are, and send us this information. This, to us, is a film-friendly town, because at the end of the day, what they said is, yes, I want to be part of this game.
So, how many film offices are in Catalonia?
As such, with the title film office?
Yes, yes. Let's say it's a structure simpler than a commission, but is in the town.
I have to think that one, but there's but 10 out of 230 towns that have film. They have a word for that, the EUFCN.
Which one?
The liaison. They call it
the
liaison film liaison. I think they call it, the Americans, where of course they are not film officers or film commissioners, because they do that amongst 10,000 other things of the daily work at the particular town, but they will help productions when they get there.
Any other question? Okay, could we agree that because Carlota pretty soon has to leave to go to the airport, that's the last question, yeah? And then we go to a break.
Yes, Guerrero, I wanted to ask you, Greece and your country have plenty of similarities as Mediterranean countries. Can you please advise us, because Greece is fresh and furious, let's say, in the film market, can you please advise us from your own experience, what are the main difficulties, possible problems or traps during the whole procedure?
The whole procedure of filming, you mean?
Exactly.
Okay, that's a tricky one.
Excuse me, Carlota, could you please tell us your name and if your position? Thank you.
Stamatis Christoforidis, an associate of the Creative Campus.
And you are a producer, you are?
Associate producer.
Okay, I would say that's a tricky question, because, there are as many difficulties as types of productions you can encounter. So, and as producers, for a film student, a huge difficulty may be getting a permit to film on the seaside, whereas for an experienced location manager, that's a piece of cake. But over the years, time of permitting is always an issue. And I think that is universal. Producers, especially those working in commercials, will always want you to issue a permit in 24 hours. Authorities will always ask for a month. What do? We try to reach an agreement between the two needs. What would be another difficulty? Areas that have different management authorities, like nature parks, in our case, and probably the same. If you want to shoot, say, a sailing boat leaving the coast of a nature park, you need to get a permit from the town, the nature park, the coastal service, and the Capitanía, I don't know what you call Capitanía Marítima, but yeah, because they will have to tell you what to do when your boat is out in the sea. So that is a complication. What is sometimes a complication is productions that are not well prepared or prepared enough, that come with needs like, oh, I forgot that also, oh, that 2 trees there, and then 2 days after, no, and that we need to drop a bomb. That is also a difficulty that we encounter, no? So anything that comes with plenty of time, preparation, transparency, I was mentioning before, that helps a lot. I don't know if that helped the answer, but I would say that covers more or less the difficulties.
Crystal clear.
So let's have a break of about an hour. Thank you so much, Carlota.
Thank you.